The Dallas Cowboys were down by 3 points when the sky went dark. At first, the 100,000 fans in AT&T Stadium thought it was part of Beyoncé's halftime show, another spectacular light effect to complement the synchronized drones. But then the stadium's massive screen flickered and died, along with every phone, tablet, and electronic device in the arena. Outside, a crystalline structure larger than Manhattan descended through the clouds, its faceted surface refracting the winter sunlight into rainbow patterns across the Texas landscape. Similar ships appeared simultaneously over Beijing, London, Moscow, and Rio de Janeiro. The aliens' timing was impeccable. They'd managed to capture humanity's attention during one of the most watched events in history. Dr. Amanda Brooks was halfway through her microwave dinner when the NASA emergency beacon buzzed. As head of the hastily assembled Senological Response Team, she'd spent the last 5 years preparing for first contact. She'd written protocols, designed communication strategies, and run countless simulations. None of them had started with aliens interrupting the Super Bowl. "Please tell me this is another drill," she muttered, already knowing it wasn't. Her Tesla autopiloted through the empty Colorado streets as every screen in sight. Billboards, store displays, even children's tablets in passing cars flickered to life with the same message. ATN2ion, primitive species, 3 to 7 1 to 9. Your designation, humanity. We are the hegemony of allied celestial species. Your technological advancement has your biological potential has you have 30 Earth rotations to demonstrate your worth. Submit or face extinction. The hegemony's message repeated in every language, dialect, and writing system on Earth. Even Brooks had to admire their thoroughness. They'd included ASCII art for computer scientists and mathematical sequences for the theorists. But something about their message nagged at her analytical mind. Why give an ultimatum to a primitive species? Why 30 days? Inside the NASA complex, chaos reigned. Military officials argued about response strategies while politicians demanded immediate action. Brooks slipped past them into her lab, where her team had already begun analyzing the hegemony's transmission signals. "They're scanning us," Dr. Marcus Way announced without looking up from his quantum interference detector. Continuous deep-level scans of everything. Power grids, biological systems, geological structures. But they're focusing heavily on our energy output. Brooks watched the data streams, her mind racing. They're calling us primitive, but they're studying us like we're a puzzle they can't solve. That's not how you treat a species you're planning to destroy. The next transmission came 3 hours later. The hegemony's ambassador, a crystalline figure that seemed to shift between solid and energy states, appeared on every screen worldwide. Your species' energy consumption barely registers on the Kardashev scale, it announced with what sounded like amusement. Your most advanced power stations would barely power a hegemony waste recycler. We offer you 30 rotations to demonstrate why such an inefficient species deserves to exist. Brooks stood up, straightened her lab coat, and walked to the communication terminal. The room fell silent as she pressed the transmit button. "This is Dr. Amanda Brooks of Earth's Senological Response Team," she began, her voice steady. "Before we proceed with your evaluation, we'll need that threat in writing. All of it. The extinction part, the 30-day deadline, and especially the bit about our power levels. Oh, and we'll need it notarized." The crystalline figure flickered, its smooth motion stuttering for a microsecond. In that moment of confusion, Brooks smiled. She'd seen that reaction before, in poker games when she'd caught someone bluffing. The hegemony might have advanced technology, but they clearly didn't understand human bureaucracy. Or perhaps, she thought as she watched their energy readings fluctuate, they didn't understand humans at all. The Joint Chiefs wanted to nuke the ships. The UN Security Council was drafting a strongly worded letter, and Dr. Amanda Brooks was having an argument with her coffee maker. "Just 1 cup," she muttered, jabbing the power button for the 3rd time. The machine had been acting strange since the hegemony's arrival, sometimes brewing without being turned on, other times refusing to work entirely. Like now, when she'd been awake for 36 hours straight analyzing alien energy signatures. Her lab in the Colorado facility had become a maze of jury-rigged equipment. Quantum sensors shared desk space with Radio Shack multimeters, and a modified Tesla coil hummed in the corner, monitoring the hegemony's constant scanning beams. "Dr. Brooks." Marcus burst through the door, his usually neat hair standing on end. "You need to see this. The power grid readings are going crazy." She followed him to the main monitoring station, where wavelength patterns danced across multiple screens. The hegemony scans were intensifying, but something else was happening. Earth's magnetic field was responding. "It's like a conversation," she said, watching the pattern shift. "Their scans hit our magnetosphere, and it's sending something back." A spark jumped from her coffee maker to the Tesla coil. In that instant, her coffee cup began to glow, the liquid inside swirling with impossible luminescence. The energy readings spiked off the charts. "Marcus, are you seeing this?" She grabbed her tablet, but it was dead. All the equipment was dead, except for the glowing coffee cup, which now hovered an inch above the desk. "It's not just the cup," Marcus whispered, pointing at the security feeds. All across the facility, metal objects were exhibiting strange behavior. Paperclips formed complex geometric patterns, spare coins rolled uphill, and every liquid surface showed the same otherworldly luminescence as her coffee. Brooks moved closer to the cup, her physicist's mind racing. The hegemony scans were designed to measure conventional power output, nuclear plants, solar arrays, fusion experiments. But this was something else entirely. "They're looking for the wrong kind of power," she breathed. "Marcus, get me everything you can find on human electromagnetic sensitivity. And call Dr. Sarah Williams at MIT. She was doing research on human neurons, acting as quantum receivers." The next few hours were a blur of experiments. They discovered that the phenomena only occurred when 3 elements aligned: the hegemony scans, Earth's magnetic field, and human presence. Remove anyone, and the effect vanished. "It's us," Brooks realized, watching her coffee cup finally return to normal. "Humans are the catalyst. We evolved on a planet with one of the strongest magnetic fields in the habitable zone. Our entire nervous system developed in this electromagnetic soup." She thought back to the hegemony's dismissive tone when measuring Earth's power output. Their technology was impressive, but it was all external, crystalline ships, energy weapons, artificial gravity. What if they'd evolved on worlds without strong magnetic fields? What if they'd never developed the biological sensitivity that humans took for granted? Her phone buzzed, the first sign of normal electronics returning. It was a message from a colleague in Japan, reporting similar phenomena in their lab. Then another from Brazil, London, Sydney. "Marcus," she called out, a plan forming in her mind. "How many particle accelerators do we have access to worldwide?" 17 major facilities. "Why?" Brooks picked up her still glowing coffee cup, a smile spreading across her face. "Because we're going to need all of them. And get me in touch with the video game industry. Their neural interface research just became the most important technology on Earth." Video games. Marcus looked confused. What do games have to do with alien power measurements? "Everything," Brooks replied, watching as her coffee began to swirl again, this time moving in perfect synchronization with her pulse. "Because we're not going to show the hegemony our power grid. We're going to show them what 8 billion electromagnetically sensitive human minds can do when they work together." She paused, looking at the alien ships visible through her lab window. "And someone get me a better coffee maker. We've got 28 days to turn Earth into one giant biological battery." The Reddit post appeared at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. My Monster energy drink just started floating. Anyone else? Within hours, our /Hegemony Weirdness had over 1 million subscribers. Videos flooded the internet. Levitating soda cans in Seoul, spinning teacups in London, and a particularly viral clip of an entire Starbucks in Seattle, where every drink began moving in perfect circles, creating an impromptu liquid ballet. Dr. Amanda Brooks watched the social media explosion from her lab, a slight smile playing at her lips. How many hits on the instruction post? Marcus checked the metrics. 10 million and climbing. The Discord server's about to crash. Turns out telling people to try this cool science trick is more effective than announcing we're building a planetary defense system. The trick was simple. Take any conductive container, add liquid, and place it near electronic devices during the Hegemony scheduled scanning periods. The results varied from nothing to mini light shows, but each attempt uploaded valuable data to Brooks's hidden servers. The Singapore team just confirmed it. Sarah Williams announced, rushing into the lab with her tablet. The MIT physicist had flown in after Brooks's discovery. The effect is stronger in populations with higher video game usage. The neural plasticity from gaming seems to enhance the electromagnetic sensitivity. Brooks nodded, watching the global data stream. How's Project Overwatch going? Better than expected, Sarah replied. We've got pro gamers recording synchronization rates that shouldn't be possible. Their brains are practically quantum computers when they're in the zone. The real work was happening in plain sight, hidden behind gamer tags and streaming channels. While the Hegemony monitored military bases and power plants, millions of gamers were learning to consciously manipulate electromagnetic fields through what they thought were beta tests for new neural interface games. A notification pinged on Brooks's phone. At Max Power Gaming had just streamed a perfect run in the new interface test. The teenager from Detroit had managed to maintain quantum synchronization for 3 minutes, shattering the previous record. Get that kid on a secure line, Brooks ordered, and someone find out how he. The lab's lights flickered as another Hegemony scan swept through. But this time, something was different. The usual electronic disruption was met with a resonant hum as thousands of synchronized players unconsciously pushed back against the alien energy. Brooks's coffee cup didn't just float. It spun in a perfect helix, matching the pattern on her monitor showing global player synchronization rates. For a brief moment, she could have sworn she felt every connected player's presence, like phantom limbs extending across the planet. Did anyone else feel that? Sarah whispered, staring at her own vibrating water bottle. Marcus checked the readings. Whatever that was, the Hegemony noticed. Their scan patterns just changed. They're focusing on population centers with the highest gaming density. Good, Brooks smiled. Let them think they're seeing a cultural phenomenon. At Max Power Gaming just proved what I suspected. We can link consciousness through these fields. We just needed the right interface. She pulled up the global map, watching thousands of points of light representing active players. How long before we can scale up the network? The gaming companies are pushing out the update tonight, Marcus reported, disguised as a new competitive season. We're calling it Rise Up. Global Defense Force. Players think they're beta testing next-gen haptic feedback technology. And the hardware distribution. Sarah projected a hologram showing shipping routes. Amazon thinks they're delivering special edition controllers. Walmart's handling the energy drink promotion. Every major retailer is moving our modified electronics without realizing it. The Hegemony's watching our supply lines, but all they're seeing is typical consumer behavior. Brooks walked to the window, watching the crystalline ships glinting in the afternoon sun. 25 days remained until their deadline. Humanity's response looked like chaos. Millions of people playing games, drinking energy drinks, and posting videos of floating beverages. But beneath that chaos, a network was forming. Each synchronized player strengthened it. Each floating cup proved it. And soon, very soon, humanity would show the Hegemony what real power looked like. All right, Brooks announced, turning back to her team. Let's go play some games. Watch this, said Jenny Chen, professional Overwatch player and recently drafted member of Project Neural Edge. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and the entire lab's electrical grid pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. Dr. Amanda Brooks checked the readings, trying to hide her excitement. How long can you maintain it? About 5 minutes now, Jenny replied, opening her eyes as the lights returned to normal. It's like being in the zone during a tournament, but instead of controlling a character, I'm feeling the electricity itself. The discovery had been accidental. While analyzing neural patterns of pro gamers, Brooks's team noticed something extraordinary. Their brains had developed new synaptic pathways, similar to those found in musicians and martial artists, but specifically attuned to electromagnetic fields. Show them the multiplayer test, Marcus called from his workstation. Jenny nodded to her teammates, 4 other pro gamers from different esports leagues. They sat in a circle, each wearing what appeared to be standard gaming headsets. As they closed their eyes, the lab's equipment began to dance. Monitors flickered in patterns, cables writhed like snakes, and Brooks's ever-present coffee cup traced complex geometric patterns in the air. But the real magic was happening in their brains. "Look at this," Sarah Williams whispered, pointing to the neural mapping display. 5 distinct consciousness patterns were visible, but they weren't separate. They were interweaving, creating something entirely new. "We're thinking together," Jenny explained, her voice distant. "I can feel what Maria's feeling in Seoul, what Alex is thinking in London. It's like we're one person spread across 5 bodies." Brooks watched the energy readings spike. The gamers weren't just synchronizing. They were amplifying each other. Each mind added to the network increased their collective power exponentially. "The hegemony's scanning us again," Marcus announced. "Let them," Brooks replied, watching the aliens' energy patterns wash over the lab. "They still think they're monitoring power grid fluctuations. They have no idea they're watching human consciousness evolve in real time." The revelation had hit her 3 days ago. Humanity's primitive technology wasn't a weakness. It was proof of our unique development. While other species built external power sources, humans had evolved in harmony with Earth's magnetic field. Our nervous systems weren't just compatible with electromagnetic energy. They were designed to channel it. Dropping connection in 3, 2, 1. Jenny and her team opened their eyes, looking slightly dazed but exhilarated. That was longer than yesterday. "Much longer," Sarah confirmed. "And the energy output was nearly triple." Brooks pulled up the global map. Similar tests were happening in gaming centers worldwide. Each successful synchronization strengthened the growing neural network. Players who had never met could link minds across continents, their gamer-honed reflexes adapting perfectly to this new form of connection. Dr. Brooks, a junior researcher, burst into the lab. "You need to see this. The hegemony. They're getting nervous." The alien ships had changed position, spreading out to cover more of Earth's surface. Their scanning patterns had become erratic, more focused. They could sense something was happening, but their technology, designed to measure industrial power output, couldn't comprehend the biological network forming under their noses. "How many active players do we have now?" Brooks asked. Marcus checked the numbers. 2 million in the primary network, with another 10 million in training. The gaming community is calling it the biggest global event in esports history. Brooks smiled, remembering the hegemony's contemptuous evaluation of Earth's power levels. They had measured our nuclear plants, our solar arrays, our power grids. But they had missed the most important reading, the potential energy of human consciousness itself. "Jenny," she called out, "get your team ready for another test. This time, I want you to try something new." She walked to the coffee cup still floating above her desk, its contents swirling with that now familiar inner light. "Don't just share thoughts. Share memories. Share dreams. Show me what 8 billion network human minds might be capable of." The gamers nodded, settling back into position. As they closed their eyes, Brooks could have sworn she felt it. the first tremor of a power that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what primitive really meant. The hegemony's deadline was approaching, and Twitch was breaking records. 50 million concurrent viewers watched as gaming servers worldwide transformed into the backbone of humanity's most ambitious project. "We're trending on every platform," Marcus announced, his workstation displaying a wall of social media feeds. #RiceUpEarth is the biggest hashtag in history. The hegemony's watching all of it, but they still think it's just entertainment. Dr. Amanda Brooks barely heard him. She was focused on Jenny Chen and her team, now expanded to 12 pro gamers, as they demonstrated humanity's latest breakthrough. "Neural link stable," Jenny reported, her voice carrying an ethereal echo, as if multiple people were speaking in perfect unison. "Consciousness sync at 97%, ready to attempt global interface." The lab hummed with anticipation. What had started as floating coffee cups had evolved into something unprecedented. The gamers weren't just sharing thoughts anymore. They were becoming nodes in a living network that spanned the planet. "Begin Phase 1, Brooks ordered. On her command, gaming servers worldwide shifted functions. Millions of players, thinking they were participating in the world's biggest multiplayer event, became conscious connections in Earth's new nervous system. "Energy signatures are off the charts," Sarah Williams called out, watching the readings. "The hegemony sensors are going haywire. They're trying to recalibrate." Through the neural network, Brooks could feel it happening. Each human mind added to the web brought new strength, new perspectives. A teenager in Tokyo shared her understanding of particle physics. A grandmother in Buenos Aires contributed decades of pattern recognition. Every consciousness added its unique energy to the growing power. "Phase 2 initiating," Marcus announced. The real gaming began. While millions played what they thought was a new virtual reality experience, their networked minds were actually learning to manipulate Earth's electromagnetic field. Each quest completion, each achievement unlocked, represented another step toward planetary synchronization. "Dr. Brooks," Jenny called out, her voice now carrying hints of thousands of others. "You need to see this." Through the gamers' shared consciousness, Brooks witnessed something extraordinary. The network wasn't just connecting minds, it was evolving them. Players were developing abilities that defied conventional physics. They could sense electromagnetic fields, redirect energy flows, even glimpse fragments of possible futures. "The hegemony ships are moving," Sarah reported urgently. "They're concentrating over major population centers." Brooks smiled. "Let them watch. They still don't understand what they're seeing." On screens worldwide, the game's narrative reached its climax. Players faced increasingly complex challenges, each one training them to handle more power, greater synchronization. The aliens monitored the surge in internet traffic, interpreting it as a species distracting itself from impending doom. "Phase 3 ready," Marcus said quietly. Brooks nodded, then addressed the neural network directly, her thoughts reaching millions of connected minds. "Show them what humanity can do." Across the planet, synchronized players executed what they thought was the game's final move. Reality rippled. Every electronic device on Earth pulsed in harmony. The coffee cup that had started it all no longer floated. It danced through the air in patterns that shouldn't have been possible, leaving trails of light that lingered like afterimages. Through the network, Brooks felt the collective gasp of 8 billion minds touching each other for the first time. Barriers of language and culture meant nothing in this new consciousness. Humanity wasn't just connected, it was transforming. The hegemony's scanning beams. Sarah's voice trailed off as she stared at her readings. "They're being absorbed." No, not absorbed, redirected. In the sky, the crystalline ships shimmered uncertainly. Their sensors, designed to measure industrial power output, couldn't process what they were detecting. How could they quantify the energy of human consciousness itself? 5 days until their deadline, Marcus noted. Brooks watched as Jenny's team demonstrated their latest achievement, not just sharing thoughts, but combining them into something entirely new. The floating coffee cup had become a sphere of pure energy, a miniature star born from the combined will of networked human minds. 5 days is plenty, Brooks replied. Humanity's about to show the galaxy what real power looks like. The revolution wouldn't be televised after all. It would be streamed, shared, and experienced simultaneously by every consciousness on Earth. Synchronization in 3, 2, 1. The world held its breath. 25 days of preparation had led to this moment. In her Colorado lab, Dr. Amanda Brooks watched as 8 billion human minds connected simultaneously for the first time. It began with a whisper, a subtle vibration that rippled through the planet's magnetic field. Then, like a symphony reaching its crescendo, human consciousness surged through the network Jenny and her team had helped create. Power readings are exponential, Marcus called out, his voice tight with excitement. We're seeing energy signatures that shouldn't be possible. The scales can't even. His voice cut off as reality itself seemed to bend. Every electronic device on Earth activated at once, screens displaying not data or images, but pure consciousness made visible. The hegemony scanning beams, which had been constantly probing Earth's defenses, suddenly recoiled as if burned. Neural sync complete, Jenny announced, her voice now a harmony of millions. Humanity is online. Brooks felt it. They all did. Every human on Earth became aware of their connection to the vast web of consciousness. A child in Kenya shared her first memory of rain. A physicist in Geneva contributed his understanding of quantum mechanics. Every mind added its unique perspective to the whole. The coffee cup that had started it all no longer merely floated. It had become a nexus of pure energy, a physical manifestation of humanity's combined will. Similar phenomena appeared worldwide. Objects defying gravity, light bending in impossible ways, and most incredibly, human thoughts becoming tangible force. The hegemony ships are responding, Sarah reported, though the words seemed unnecessary. Through the network, everyone could sense the aliens' growing panic. Their crystalline vessels, once imposing in their magnitude, now seemed fragile against the backdrop of humanity's awakening. The ship's energy weapons powered up, a reflexive response to what their sensors were telling them. 8 billion minds, Brooks whispered, feeling the power surge through her. 8 billion humans who evolved on a planet with one of the strongest magnetic fields in the galaxy. 8 billion consciousness who spent their entire existence bathed in electromagnetic energy, never realizing what they could become. The hegemony fired their first shot, a beam of energy that could have vaporized a city. It never reached Earth's surface. Instead, it encountered something unprecedented. A shield formed not of technology, but of networked human will. Through the global neural link, Brooks witnessed humanity's power unfold in real time. Every gamer's reflexes, every scientist's knowledge, every artist's creativity, all of it merged into a new form of energy that the hegemony sensors couldn't even detect. They're trying to recalibrate their weapons, Jenny reported, her consciousness spread across the network. They don't understand. They can't comprehend what they're seeing. The truth was beautiful in its simplicity. Humanity hadn't been primitive at all. We had been evolving alongside our planet's magnetic field for millions of years, developing potential that no other species could imagine. What the hegemony saw as inferior technology was actually the foundation for something far more powerful. Show them, Brooks commanded, her thoughts echoing through the neural network. Show them what humanity really is. The response was immediate and overwhelming. 8 billion minds focused their collective will, and Earth's power output didn't just rise. It transcended conventional measurement. The coffee cup in Brooks's lab exploded into a miniature star, a perfect fusion reaction contained by pure thought. Similar demonstrations appeared worldwide. Humans weren't just channeling energy. They were creating it, shaping it, becoming one with it. The hegemony scans showed Earth's power levels jumping beyond Type Io civilization measurements, approaching Type II in a matter of hours. Their crystalline ships began to crack, unable to handle a fundamentally new form of power humanity had unleashed. The hegemony's supposedly advanced technology, designed to dominate through force, proved useless against the combined consciousness of Earth. "Dr. Brooks," Jenny called out, her voice now carrying the weight of billions. "They're sending a message." Brooks smiled, watching her coffee cup turn star pulse in rhythm with the global network. "Let them talk. Humanity has something to say." The age of hiding our potential was over. The real demonstration of power was about to begin. The hegemony's supreme commander appeared on Earth's screens, not as the imposing crystalline figure they'd first presented, but as something far more organic and far more afraid. "You don't understand what you've done." The alien's voice trembled, its crystalline form flickering between solid and energy states. "The power you're wielding, it was never supposed to be possible." Dr. Amanda Brooks stood in her lab, surrounded by floating objects that now moved in perfect harmony with human thought. Through the global neural network, she felt billions of minds processing the alien's words. "Tell us the truth," she commanded, her voice carried by the consciousness of humanity. "Why did you really come to Earth?" The Supreme Commander's form stabilized, revealing features that looked almost manufactured. Artificial crystalline structures grafted onto biological forms. "We are the shepherds of the galaxy. We guide. We control. We prevent exactly what you have become." Through the network, Jenny's consciousness merged with Brooks's, adding the razor-sharp focus of a professional gamer to the scientist's analytical mind. "You're not shepherds," they spoke as one. "You're harvesters." The truth unfolded through the combined deductive power of billions of human minds. The hegemony hadn't evolved their technology. They'd stolen it, piece by piece, from countless civilizations they'd evaluated and found wanting. "Your species was supposed to be primitive," the commander's voice cracked. "Your power readings were barely type I. We've eliminated civilizations far more advanced than yours. But this power you're wielding, is completely natural to us," Brooks finished. Through the network, she felt humanity's collective understanding crystallize. "You never developed this potential because you never evolved with it. Your worlds didn't have strong magnetic fields. Your bodies never learned to channel electromagnetic energy." The floating coffee cup in her lab had become a swirling vortex of pure energy, reflecting humanity's growing mastery of their newfound power. Across Earth, similar demonstrations multiplied as humans discovered abilities that millennia of evolution had prepared them for. "Your technology is impressive," Jenny added. Her consciousness spread across the network. "But it's all external. You build machines to do what we can do naturally. You're wearing your power like armor, while ours flows through our veins." The revelation sparked through the neural network. The hegemony's entire empire was built on suppressing species before they could discover their true potential. Their evaluations were meant to identify and eliminate civilizations that might threaten their technological superiority. But they'd never encountered a species like humanity, one that had evolved in perfect harmony with their planet's electromagnetic field, developing potential that their artificial sensors couldn't even detect. "The others will come," the Supreme Commander warned. "The species we've dominated, the civilizations we've suppressed. Once they learn what you've done." "Let them come," Brooks responded, humanity's collective will surging through her words. Through the network, she felt younger members of the hegemony already beginning to question their society's foundations. "Your empire wasn't built on superior technology. It was built on fear of exactly what we represent." The crystalline ships above Earth were cracking, their artificial power sources overwhelmed by the pure energy humanity now wielded effortlessly. The coffee cup in Brooks's lab spun faster, its energy patterns matching the thoughts of billions. "Your civilization spans galaxies," Jenny observed, her gamer's strategic mind merged with humanity's collective consciousness. "But it's a house of cards, built on stolen technology and suppressed potential. How many of your own people have you prevented from evolving? How many of your own minds have you locked away from their true power?" The Supreme Commander's image flickered one final time. What? What are you going to do? Brooks smiled, feeling the support of 8 billion minds as she delivered humanity's response. We're going to do what humans do best. We're going to change the game. Your empire was built on keeping secrets. We're about to share them with everyone. Through the neural network, humanity prepared to broadcast the truth across the galaxy. The real revolution wouldn't be won through force or domination. It would be won by showing every species in the galaxy how to power up. 3 months after the hegemony's 30-day deadline, Dr. Amanda Brooks's coffee finally stopped floating. I kind of missed the light show, she remarked, picking up the ordinary-looking cup. The lab that had once been ground zero for humanity's transformation was now a teaching center, filled with representatives from 100 different species. The coffee's normal because you're letting it be normal, Jenny Chen explained, her consciousness easily connecting with the dozen alien students in the room. We've learned to control it now. Watch. With a thought, every liquid in the room began to dance, creating intricate patterns that reflected the merged consciousness of the class. The aliens, former subjects of the hegemony, watched in wonder as their own dormant abilities awakened. Your bodies remember, Brooks explained, feeling their minds connect to the expanded network. Every species evolves in harmony with their homeworld. The hegemony just convinced you to forget. The galaxy had changed dramatically since humanity's revelation. The great crystalline ships that once inspired fear now served as monuments, their artificial power sources replaced by the natural energy of awakened minds. Another delegation arrived from the core worlds, Marcus announced, entering the lab. He'd spent the past months helping coordinate Earth's new role as a galactic teaching center. Former hegemony scientists. They say they're ready to learn. Brooks nodded, remembering the Supreme Commander's warning about consequences. The consequences had indeed come, but not as threats. They came as refugees, as students, as species desperate to reclaim their forgotten potential. Through the global network, which now extended far beyond Earth, she felt the pulse of change. Humanity had become teachers, guides for a galaxy rediscovering its true nature. The gaming interfaces that had once disguised their practice now served as training tools, helping other species reconnect with their innate abilities. Show me the latest numbers, she requested. Sarah Williams, now heading the Xenological Evolution Department, projected a hologram of the galaxy. Points of light showed where species had reawakened their natural powers, spreading outward from Earth like ripples in a cosmic pond. 57 civilizations fully awakened, Sarah reported. Over 300 in training. The former hegemony territories are transforming faster than we predicted. Turns out, once you show people their true potential, they're eager to embrace it. Jenny laughed, causing several alien students' beverages to swirl in response. Who would have thought that gaming reflexes would become the foundation for galactic enlightenment? The comment sparked joy through the network. Humanity's love for play, for games, for finding fun in learning. It had proven to be one of their greatest strengths. Species that had been rigidly controlled for millennia were discovering the power of creativity, of competition, of cooperation. Dr. Brooks, one of the alien students, called out, their consciousness touching hers with newfound confidence. We're ready for the next level. She smiled, remembering her own journey of discovery. Show me. The assembled beings closed their eyes, their minds merging into the expanded network. The coffee cup rose again, but this time it wasn't just floating. It became a window, a lens through which they could see the fundamental energy that connected all living things. Through their shared consciousness, Brooks felt the next wave of transformation beginning. Humanity had never wanted to rule or dominate. Instead, they'd done something far more powerful. They'd shown the galaxy how to play, how to learn, how to grow. The latest transmission from the former Supreme Commander arrived. Marcus added softly. They're requesting asylum. Say they're ready to learn the true meaning of power. Brooks took a sip of her now normal coffee, feeling the pulse of billions of minds, human and alien alike, working together to rebuild the galaxy. The hegemony had demanded Earth's surrender, expecting submission to their artificial might. Instead, humanity had shown everyone, that true power wasn't about domination. It was about connection, about growth, about the potential that lived in every consciousness across the cosmos. "Tell them they're welcome to join the next training session," she replied, watching her students create constellations from floating droplets of light. After all, the game's always better with more players. The coffee cup rose one final time, dancing with possibilities of what 8 billion human minds, and countless alien ones, could achieve together. The galaxy was powering up, and the game had only just begun.